I am so excited here to have Jimmy Watson tell his story here, do a little interview with him. And a lot of people we've brought before, it's just been purely strength conditioning. This will probably take a couple different twists here. So welcome, and I'm excited to have you on, Jimmy.
It's an honor to be here and to meet you, Josh. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, everyone. Appreciate it.
No, I'm excited to hear your story. So tell us a
Yeah.
little, we'll get into it a little more, but where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in a town called Muleshoe, Texas. That's Muleshoe, and that was farthest west Texas you could be, near the Panhandle, and a little ways away from the big steakhouse in Amarillo, Texas.
Okay, cool. And what sports did you do growing up?
Man, I tried to do sports, but I was the most unathletic kid, like a string bean, and just extremely uncoordinated. Had severe ADHD. Man, it was like I had the heart of a lion, but not the body. And that's pretty frustrating if you have the heart of a lion, because you can't, you throw bunches of punches and everybody feels them, And so believe it or not, I was so bad in sports that my parents went down to the school and begged the coach to play me just one game in football. They begged him, and he said, "Listen, man," he said, and this is Texas football. He said, "I would get fired from this school if I played your son." And that was Jimmy was out. Yep.
Wow. So you obviously, with what you've done since then, something changed. So how do you at what point did you kind of get more athletic and able to do more stuff? I mean, it's going from like not making the high school football team to being, a Navy SEALs, quite a contrast.
Yeah. So it was so frustrating for me growing up, man. It was really, really difficult because I'm not understanding things in school because I just want to go outside and play. I saw no reason for school whatsoever. I eventually learned that's not the good route. My parents took me out of school when I was 13. I worked on their farm for a couple of years, but all I wanted to do ever was serve, either in the Green Berets or SEALs or Marines. But I really had my heart set on SEALs, but I was realistic with myself. We all have to be, even at a real young age. And I took the test, the SEAL qualification centers, and I was so subpar on the ASVAB, aptitude test, every single thing that it looked hopeless.
Okay.
I mean, it really was. And I was blind as a bat. And by the way, you got to have some kind of corrective vision surgery. Well, they didn't have that at that time. Okay. And so I can remember praying on my knees when I was a little kid in the shower, a little bitty kid, and saying, "God, I heard this Sunday school story where you gave a man sight back. And I know that I can't be a SEAL without sight. And so I asked you to give me my sight." And I walked around rubbing my eyes. Nothing happened. But years later, I'm standing in the shower as a Navy SEAL, which we don't like to do because we hate water, because we're in it all the time. Yeah. You got nerve damage. I'm sitting there and I'm going, dang, man. Dang. God did it in his own way, because I ended up getting corrective surgery. Everything just lined out.
Wow.
Along the way. Yeah, it's incredible.
And what do you think made you want to join the military initially?
The only thing that I can think of is, I was at a family reunion when I was real little, Watson family reunion. And my Aunt Naomi, she said, little Jimmy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a Navy SEAL. And I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. And they don't know where I got that. But I'll say this, is that I was raised on about a 2,000 acre dry land farm that was going bankrupt. Okay. But to me and my little brother, it was like the biggest playground you could ever imagine and the funnest time ever. So I can remember sitting there looking up into the sky and thinking and saying, God, I'm willing to die for my country at a young age because of this awesomeness you gave me here. As long as you keep me out of school, So
yeah. So are you pretty religious?
I don't like to say religious, because what I've learned is Jesus is looking for a relationship and not and so, but unfortunately, when people hear Jesus or Yeshua or Yahweh, they
Yeah.
they hear religion. You know, my dad was a Southern Baptist preacher, but a cool one, and he was a Texas judge too.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget one of his famous quotes I got from him. A very wise man said, "Religion is the worst thing that ever happened to Christianity."
Hmm.
I didn't like saying Christianity. I don't go to a church. I don't even claim non-denominational because I have a personal relationship with the almighty power of God. The only thing that's got me through this life from a runt, nobody, like Rudy, but worse, to, runner up in the seal of the year in 2015,
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. You bring that sort of approach to spirituality. It's even like, have you ever had a tough time or people kind of, inquire how you balance? Because I wasn't even planning on going this route at all. So I'm kind of, making these up as we go here, but of how
Sure.
you balance that sort of like, military with that religion. Because I've always thought that, like, in the Bible, to talk about Jesus going into a village, this guy gets all these fishermen and all these kind of gruff dudes to follow him. So like those pictures you see at a church of like this sort of wimpy, meek guy with long hair that was like playing with lambs.
Yeah.
Probably not where it really is. This guy going in there, getting these ass kicking fishermen to follow him and things like that. So that's pretty interesting. You bring all this up. So,
well, man, it's important to know, man, that the majority of SEALs are atheists or they don't believe in God, which is their cup of tea. But for me, I wasn't like this so bold as with you. This only happened recently when I literally got transformed in my life. But I always knew from the time I was a kid there was a God, and so I was never pushing this in the SEALs. I was like one of the guys. In fact, I was probably the worst one, the worst of all. I was the worst, man.
Gotcha.
I tested like that.
So let's talk about what was Bud's like?
Buds. I think I describe Buds a little different than some other SEALs. Because we all know it's hard. We've all heard you got boats on your head, 250-pound boat. We all know you got logs on your head, logs overhead and stuff.
Sure.
But what I like to tell people is that the reason why a lot of guys quit, candidates, is that they realize several weeks down the road, if they make it that far, because Buds, when you quit, it's like the time of day, what day and what time it was. That's how you tell somebody when you quit. And that's pretty good. Oh, 2 days, 50 minutes in. Dang, you made it far. And it's like, that's pretty good. My hat's off to him. But
how long is it then total if you make the whole thing?
Well, if they say 8 months, but you just go across the street. You're not a SEAL yet. You go through the 8 months and then you go across the street to SQT. And what I was saying, and so it's a 2-year process to graduate your final class. Only about 7 guys graduate with their original class they started out with. That was not me. About 22 to 30 guys pass getting enrolled once, and that was me. And I was fortunate. But man, I'll tell you, the one thing I tell everybody is don't think for a second that Jocko or me or anybody else out there, Goggins himself, was not thinking about quitting many times throughout that process, because it's not humanly possible not to think about quit. That's the whole battle, is fighting. But the biggest fear that you should have in life is the fear of quitting.
What was the toughest military training experience you had in there, if you don't mind sharing?
No, it's okay. I was in an all volunteer unit called SDV Team 1. And the reason why it's all volunteer for SEALs, because they can't force you to go there, because there's been SEALs that quit if they were forced there, because they're just like, bro, I'm not freaking getting in to that Widowmaker coffin, the little sub. It's a little mini sub, and it can't talk about it, but it's just a means to get somewhere, right? But we're the only ones that do it. And so attention, injured pretty bad. So I would say, well, just to answer your question bluntly, when I checked in as a new guy to SDV, everybody's like, what are you doing? Why are you going there, man? This is crazy. You made it through all this training. You could go to a vanilla team, real easy, West Coast, East Coast, but I chose SDV because I had already done the land side because I was a Marine in Blackwater. And so I was like, I'm going to do this sketchy squirrel stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what attracted me was the fact that I might die or that you're going to get injured. That just to me was like, okay, man, this sounds bad. This is badass, you know? And so, when I checked in as a new guy, one of the senior guys that SEALs that died later, Matt Leathers, there in Hawaii, they lost him out on the shore there, drowned. He came by, he was crusty, man. He looked like a homeless bum with a big old dip in. And he walked by and we were checking as new guys and he looked at us and he said, hey, you guys are scared, huh? He was real nice about it. He wasn't being a dick. And I said, we were like, yeah, maybe. I don't know, And he's like, no, check it out. He's like, let me just tell you because he had been there for 6 years, and that's a long time at SDV.
For sure.
I mean, oh, dude, because it takes 2 years for one deployment. It's terrible. And it's really serious. And so he said, everybody, the only thing that matters in life at SDV team is what time it is. But you can't pick up your hand to tell the time because you're squashed with guys back there, totally claustrophobic.
Oh, geez.
It fills with water. It's at night. It's frigid water. You can't move. All you can do is shake when your buddy shakes because it's contagious, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Mm-hmm. And he says, the only thing that matters is when is the dive going to end? Because you're so miserable. And he said, so how you tell time is this. He said, right when you think that you are about to bolt out and kill everybody, because you will, and right when you think you are going to explode and freak out, panic mode, ripping everything out, get me out of here, at that very, very moment, you're halfway. Wow. And I was like, get me out of here. Because it was the way he explained it was so funny, man. Classic.
How claustrophobic is in there? Jeez.
Brother, it's like the first time I got in it, you got to get in head first in this hole like this big in the back, and it's underwater. It's like this much underwater. And it's at night. And he said, get in. I said, where? Like that thing? You're not getting in there. And dude, when you get in there, all you can do is hold your regulator like this with as hard as you can, because somebody might kick it out. If they do, you're dead. There's nothing you can do because it's such a tight space. So the only thing you can do is hold this like this and shake.
Do people actually die in there then, training?
Yeah. I'd say probably, maybe there might be a year that doesn't have somebody die, but the next year 2 guys die. So I bet you it's out of one a year. 2 of my buddies died.
Wow.
And 2 or 3 of them got injured, including myself, real bad.
So would you say that's the most powerful experience you had in the military?
That's the most mind-blowing. When you see grown men with muscles and tattoos with beards putting on diapers before a dive, man, in like Arctic weather, you're like, dude, kill me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And so how do you link up with McAfee? I don't know a whole lot about McAfee, but the guy, the antivirus guy, right? So I don't know very much.
Yeah. So when I got out of the teams, I wanted to do a safe house with my ex-spouse for sex trafficking kids because we were running a program. I was with Saved in America, rescuing the kids from drug cartels in San Diego County. It's an $800 million a year sex trafficking in San Diego County alone.
Wow! So this is the United States, and you're not going over to like India or Pakistan. No. Wow.
No, this is straight up here. Former SEALs, some other guys. And it's not as sexy as it sounds because it's with law enforcement and you're kind of cordoning off the area. There's a lot of politics involved. It wasn't my cup of tea, but we made the safe house. My wife was there for me the entire time, and the SEALs was only there. I was only home for 3 weeks in 2015. So I decided to take that back seat. Well, we were running out of money with my VA loan, the safe house we were building, that nonprofit. And so my buddy calls me, he goes, yo, bro, his name is Cab. I can say that because he's in the French Foreign Legion right now. And so he's like, hey, bro, he's like, what's up? And that's how he sounds. And he said, hey, you want to go guard this like super paranoid guy. It's like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I was like, man, sounds kind of fun. I'm like, who? He said, John McAfee. I said, dude, who's that? He goes, check your computer. And so I went and checked. I was like, okay, this antivirus guy. He said he's going to be calling you. He's going to be calling you soon, but you got to be ready to go now because he's fear of his life. And so the reason why I became so close to John, like a son, like a guard to son, to a right-hand man to son, to CEO in a short period of time was, you see, he reached out to me. I never reached out to him, and everybody else in his life had, asked to guard him or reached out to him. But I always reminded him that when he get real paranoid is that, hey, sir, you reached out to me, not me. I had nothing to do with it. You came through family, through a seal to me. Not possible for me to like be involved with anything.
Yeah, and I don't know much about this because I wanted to purposely not research it, so I'd go in here without any kind of like preconceived notion. But why, like, so he just died. Why was it in the news so much and stuff? Is there any kind of, I don't know.
Well, okay, there's something called the dead man switch. And I didn't know what everybody was talking about because a lot of people know that I was like his right-hand man, and I was arrested, indicted with the same charges, the criminal charges as him. I was picked up by 15 FBI agents here in Arlington, DFW area, Texas. And people asked me, and I was going, what is the dead man switch? But then I figured it out, what they were talking about. And I was like, oh, we didn't call it the dead man switch, but this is what happened. When I showed up after Cav called me and I went there to John McAfee's, he brought me outside. He said, he was like bloodshot eyes. He had a Mac 10 strapped around him right here and a 45 on his side. I thought, man, this guy's lost it. But when you're doing executive protection, you gotta believe no matter what. You can never be that guy that says, oh, I don't believe aliens come in and procreate with him every night, But you better, because if an alien comes in his room, you got to pop him, put him down. And so he brought me outside, and I'll never forget. He said, "Hey," he goes, "Who's the most feared man on the battlefield?" And I said, "I don't know, sir." And he said, "The oldest man." Do you understand? And when he said that, not a lot of people thought he was serious, but I took him real serious after that. And that's how he knew that he was a genius, a brilliant man, could read you inside and out. Well, when we got at the house later on, he said, we would have never met because I bought a one-way ticket out of the States. And I said, why is that? He said, well, if Hillary would have got elected, which I thought she was, and not Trump, I would have had to flee the country. And I said, why you have to flee the country? And I'm kind of going, yeah, right. Like another story, because I just met him. And he said, because I got all these files on Hillary, electric files, and I got stored away in safety deposit boxes, which later we would go to Miami a lot. And if something happens to me, I'm going to release all that dirt on her and two other people he named, but I can't say those names. Yeah. So, yeah. And so,
did it ever get released or anything?
No, it never got released because my theory is that McAfee was murdered because I'm sure, as you know, you can get murdered really easy in prison. It's like nothing. Like you can get killed easy especially from gang related stuff inside and outside. And so I think he got murdered more. I don't think he hung himself. He's an old Irish tough dog. He just want to do that. He's a survivor.
Wasn't there something about him predicting his own quote unquote suicide, like kind of thing? What didn't he?
Yeah, he said he got a tattoo named Whacked on his arm. He said, if I get whacked, or hung, it wasn't me. Somebody killed me. I mean, and there's a video of him saying that. And if you're about to get extradited, even though he lost his case and is getting extradited to America to face charges, you're gonna be happy to change environments out of that Spanish prison.
Yeah,
not kill yourself.
Absolutely. Then back to a little bit back to the working out. So how has your training developed over the years?
Man, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying, like, what are you doing now, and just like how's it evolved over the years?
It's been a process, man. If I had you along the way, I'd probably be Mr. Olympian right now. But I didn't, I hadn't had much instruction. So I was one of those guys that just threw weights around. Okay. And I just did whatever, and I thought the more is the better, man. I can remember, because I was so small, I felt like I had to do everything in the world to catch up. I picked up a white medium t-shirt once, and these other muscle guys were over there, and I said, I'm going to fill this out one day. And they busted out laughing so hard. But my point is I tried about it all. I've done the 5x5 in Iraq, heavy. I've done negative. I've done split negatives, which, you're working one side of the body upper, one side of the body lower, the opposite side. Done the caveman workouts, high intensity CrossFit, jerking my elbows around my knees. Mm-hmm. Then of course, implemented my own workouts in buds, and through all my experience, that led me to us speaking.
Yes.
And me telling you the other day, hey, listen, man, I'll tell you. I said, I don't want to plagiarize you guys. I do my own Mighty Warrior workouts, but really, I got that idea from you guys. And how I got that idea, my buddy had one of your workout programs, and he was looking so jacked. I'd never seen him so jacked and ripped. And he knows the stuff. He owns a gym here in Dallas, Texas. And he said, bro, you want real results? And I was like, well, yeah, I've been wanting real results my whole life. And he's like, because I know how important it is to shock your body. He said, do this, bro, straight up. Okay. And I did it. And and I do very little barbell or anything. It's all body weight. And a lot of,
it serves you if you're going to be at home, quarantined, whatever, right? I mean,
yeah. And, I've kind of exploited my house arrest thing on TikTok and these other channels, but really, we're all on house arrest essentially. And, you go on your website, you talk about, this is your workouts being a way out of your cage, out of your prison.
Yeah, frees yourself from the imprisonment.
Yeah, you said where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
And that's so true. And I'll tell you, your workouts, man, my hat's off to you guys, because I've never got such a big pump and so fast results so quickly. And I was eating like crap, and that's not normal.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that. So that's the best training routine you found then, you think?
I'll have to say one of my most favorite workouts was the caveman workout. Okay. And it was like, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's like 20, it's like a high intensity reps, 15 second seconds, supersets. And I'll tell you, that gave me great results. I learned that my body reacts to that. But then I started doing the one my buddy Clint gave to me, and that was y'all's program. And man, I was like, where has this been? And you don't even have to go to the gym. I mean, that's what's scary about it.
And what do you weigh now?
I weigh 225, and pretty lean. If I dialed in my diet, I'd be a lot better.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Awesome. And so what are you up to now though? So like, how do people if they want to learn more about you, get in contact and all that kind of stuff? What are you doing now?
Man, I'm on, I got arrested, came here to house arrest, pending trial and all that. But
hey, I'll let you say it. I wasn't going to say it, but that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got arrested by 15 FBI agents. I was in the Texas Federal Penitentiary. Okay. Did a little time.
The one in Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so came to my
house. Mexican restaurant I used to go to. That's the only reason I know.
Sorry for that. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
I got $10 million bond at my mom's house. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Well, believe it or not, bro, I'm glad you just said that. It prompted this, because I swear this is good. The FBI and the DOJ, the same guys that put Wolf of Wall Street away, because that's my crimes, that kind of stuff, they're on your program, the jailhouse program.
So who is this?
The DOJ in and the FBI, some of the FBI guys, because they were like, hey, yeah, Jimmy, hey, bro, can you, hey, man, what do we need to do? Because, I was talking to him for a little bit about stuff, and they were like, hey, what do you need to do? What do you need me to do? And I said, bro, listen, man, I said, I'm going to give you a secret. Go to this website, and they all write it down. They wrote it down right there because, they arrested me. They were like, bro, what do you do? All this stuff. Anyways, so, we're doing your program, dude.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So do you want us, what are you doing for business now? You selling shirts, doing stuff, anything we can we can link at the bottom of the video so people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I love TikTok. That's my main platform. It's growing exponentially. There's like about 50,000. I call them like tribes people. Like we're like a Mighty Warrior Spirit tribe. Okay. My TikTok handle is at Mighty Warrior 2021.
At Mighty Warrior 2021. Is it all one thing?
All one thing. At Mighty Warrior.
Yeah, we can put a link to the bottom. I don't know much about TikTok, but we can definitely put a link at the bottom of the video.
Yeah. And then I have a website, tellmystory.io, and I got shirts on there and stuff, but they're pretty much at cost. But and then I got my own Mighty Warrior workouts. But hey, man, yours are awesome, bro.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad they're helpful, and that's what you got to do. Is obviously I learned from people too. I didn't just all of a sudden mysteriously think anything up, out of the blue. So we all learn from people. It's basically take the best of what you learn, then construct it with what's uniquely your own, and bada bang, bada boom. There we go.
Bada bang, bada boom.
Okay, cool. Well, you got anything else you want to sign off with?
Man, I'm just honored to meet y'all. You guys are super cool. You and Adam.
Yeah.
Talking to me. I mean, I'm on house arrest, but I appreciate you guys letting me come on your show, man. So I'm just more than thrilled to do that.
Yeah, I've been, I was glad to talk to you because I wanted to get going on these again, and I thought you'd be the perfect person to kick it off with. So that's great. We really appreciate your time. Learned a lot. I think you had a lot of good insights, and the thing was cool about it. You've done all this stuff, but you're also not egotistical about it. You can let someone ask you questions and answer it. So we really appreciate it, man.
Bro, I really hope people visit my site for this reason, not to follow me, but to see how I make myself vulnerable so others can see that they can do it too. If I could, they could.
No, that totally makes sense. Is that kind of like, that's sort of like your platform is inspiring others to greatness? Because I'd only realized what you had done, not where you started from. I thought you were probably going to say I was all state in football, since I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And so I really appreciate your time, Jimmy. And we'll get this up the next couple of days. Okay.
Yeah, bro. I'd love to come on again at some point down the future. Just let me know, man.
All right, buddy.
Whatever y'all.
Thank you. All right, buddy.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
Yeah.